Welcome to Just a Cup on Believe, an organic conversation with the world's greatest athletes and the coaches who coach them, just as if we were in a coffee shop having a cup of coffee. And I have a little cartel coffee going on right now since my guest came from Arizona, Devon Allen, who is a two-time US Olympian and member of the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl, Olympics. Man, you got it kind of all going on. Devin, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Well, I mean, your experience. I mean, there's not too many people. One, that get to participate in the Olympics and compete. Two, there's not many people that have an opportunity to be in the Super Bowl as well. And then to be able to have the opportunity to say those two things are on your resume is amazing, to say the least.
Yeah, I think, that's been kind of my goal since I've been an athlete growing up. And, when I kind of leaned towards doing football and track, as my primary sports Olympic Games, gold medal, NFL, Super Bowl. So now all I have to do is just win the Super Bowl and win a gold medal.
Win a gold medal. That's a good one. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, the football we were talking about just before we jumped on. Football, there's been several guys that have been, elite in both. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, I come to mind Rod Woodson, Willie Gault. They were both hurdlers, and you're also a hurdler. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that even, kind of corresponds? Is there's something that kind of goes with, being a hurdler and being able to translate that into the NFL?
Yeah, I think hurdlers in themselves, I think especially the ones in hurdlers, you have to be, explosive, very explosive and fast to begin with, to be good. And then you have to do a good job with, moving your body in space and controlling your body and things like that. So, not so much, it's not change of direction, but, the way we're doing things,
right.
is like, you're kind of, running, jumping, twisting and turning in the air is something that, we get good at and be able to move in space. And also usually hurdlers are usually on the taller or bigger end of like the sprinters, right? Like the 100, 200 meter guys. So we're going to be a little bit taller on average. And the game's kind of, evolved towards that, having some bigger guys. And I think just, you got to be a little bit crazy to want to run full speed into a few barriers, like, that are about 3.5 feet tall. And so, you have to be a little bit crazy to want to play football too. So I think it fits perfect.
Yeah, I would say definitely that's a great way of looking at it. Have you had a chance to by any chance ever meet Rod Woodson or Willie Gault?
You know what? You say that. Yeah, I've met Willie Gault before, but I have not met Rod. I'm actually really interested in meeting him, just because, me and him are on similar, timelines. I'm sure we'll talk about it, with my knee injury recently.
Right.
But he, had a knee injury in the, whenever he played in the 80s, 90s, and in the preseason, and returned to play in the playoffs that season. So did a quick turnaround. Which is pretty impressive. And I wanted to talk to him about that, just because, with my turnaround, 25 weeks from surgery to the Olympic trials is kind of what I'm trying to do in terms of getting my body fit and ready to go.
And the thing about it is, I mean, it's not like you're completely absent of injuries in the past. I mean, you've overcome and excelled. I mean, I would think excel. You have injuries in college, you make an Olympic team. Yeah. Have an injury here, come back, maybe it's kind of a trend for you.
Yeah, it's obviously I'd prefer not to have them.
Right.
But I think, in sports in general, like we're trying to push the limit and, find new ways to kind of get better and better,
right.
And kind of push ourselves. So, some injuries happen, whether they're, for me, the non-contact knee ones are unfortunate, but that's just kind of how the dice roll for me. And, and also, before I was playing football again, in track season with, Achilles injuries, hip labrum tear, doing hurdle stuff, like these things happen, and I do a good job and have a good team around me that keep me healthy for the most part. And when I'm healthy, I run well. And like you said, I've competed, I've gotten injured in college and got even better and, ran faster. I had hip surgery, 8 months before the Olympics and ran 12:99 that year. And then the next year ran 12:84. So there's not like, I know I can recover from it. Obviously, like I'll be fine. I know I'm going to be fine in terms of my performance. It's just the window of time that we have,
sure,
gets a little tricky because I as good as I am, being the third fastest hurdler in history, I can't just show up, right? I can't just be like, I'm the guy, and
shoot. I mean, with Grant, he just broke the world indoor record in the 60 hurdles. The U.S. traditionally has been really high in the short hurdle races. What did you attribute that? What did you attribute that to be? Why is just the U.S.? Why is that an event the U.S. just dominates in?
You know what? We've always dominated. I think it's just an event that a lot of our athletes. And it's tough to say this way because, I'm a 10-0 100-meter sprinter still.
Right.
But, we have a lot of 9.7, 9.8 guys. So, I wouldn't quite make the world championship team individually in the 100.
Right.
So, I kind of like, all right, let's find an event where I can excel and use, my speed and stuff like that. So we go to the hurdle. So me, Grant, Daniel Roberts, Trey Cunningham, Cordell Tinch, Freddie Crittenden, all the guys that have been the best in the world, the last few years are all very, very fast. And, you don't see that a lot in some other events where, maybe in high school, right, you put your fastest guy, he just runs 100.
Right.
But, I think the events and stuff are changing to where, we're seeing the fastest guys, the best athletes, and we're saying, hey, you should do this event. And I think, the hurdle event's kind of one of those. And also, I'm not going to take all the credit, but, and I'm not old. I won my first US title at 19. That's why people think I'm old, because I won my first US title at 19, 10 years ago. And so, I like to think that some of the guys that are now, 21, 22 to 25, 26 were probably watching me compete when they were in high school. I'm like, hey, I want to do that. So I'll take a little credit.
Right, and you got to do that, which was unique. You went to the University of Oregon and getting to do that at Hayward Field. Hayward Field is one of those iconic places